Now, this is Trump, the big mouth. Either you love Trump or you hate him. And the people who love him thinks that he's America's savior. And the people who hate him think that when he comes to power, he'll use power against... Donald Trump actually said that Vivek Ramaswamy's campaign is deceitful and he's a fraud, etc. I don't know why Trump should say this. What did Vivek do? Jai Hind, friends. I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Vivek Ramaswamy, the presidential hopeful of Indian origin, has opted out of the race for the White House. And, in Iowa, where these elections were held, Trump, obviously, leader of the pack, this solidifies Trump's position as the leading person as far as the Republicans are concerned. A lot of people in America are hopeful that Trump will make it to the White House. Now, a lot more needs to be done now. It's not like the Indian elections where you go vote on, certain days. This goes on for some time in the United States of America, and the final results are still very far away. But the fact of the matter is that Trump has started his campaign with a bang. Now, here are the number of votes that various people got. Let me read them out to you. We have Donald Trump with 51%, Ron DeSantis with 21.2%, Nikki Haley with 19.1%, Vivek Ramaswamy with 7.7%, and Asa Hutchinson with 0.2%. Now, it's very possible because the gap between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis is hardly anything. It's hardly anything. It's what? It's less than 2%. So, there could be a chance where Nikki Haley becomes number 2. Now, ladies and gentlemen, all these things about, Vivek Ramaswamy opting out of the presidential race, and obviously, by far, Donald Trump was the front runner always. He's a man with massive popularity. He's more popular than Joe Biden is. By far, he's most popular. The differences in America are based not on people but on ideology. There are hardcore Trump supporters and there are hardcore people who oppose Donald Trump. What is happening here is, at least in the American sense, what I've been able to make out is that there are people who love Trump and there are people who hate Trump. I haven't spoken to very many people who are Americans who are neutral as far as Trump is concerned. Either you love Trump or you hate him. And the people who love him thinks that he's America's savior, and the people who hate him think that when he comes to power, he'll use power against his political opponents. But here's the catch. Trump too has been a victim. He may have done wrong, I'm not denying that. The fact of the matter is that Joe Biden is seen as a person who has needlessly gone after Trump using the FBI and using other instruments of the state. Now, what happens if Donald Trump wins the elections? Let us say he defeats Joe Biden and he becomes the president of the United States. Vengeance? Of course. He has said it in so many words, and he has said that I will get even with everybody who has harassed me. Not people who are opposing me politically. That's all right as far as Trump is concerned. But Trump says that those of you who harassed me, those of you who used agencies of the state like the FBI to harass me, I will use the agencies of the state to harass you, in so many words, if not exactly. Now, here's the thing. The Indian community, which is one of the most influential communities in the United States of America, earns the maximum, pays most number of taxes, has possibly the least amount of people in jail, and generally law-abiding, generally an ideal immigrant community. They are, of course, going to be disheartened by this because they were hoping that Vivek Ramaswamy, if not, actually leading the Republican, he would have done slightly better. And this is exactly what Vivek Ramaswamy said. Now, there are 2 or 3 angles to it. Vivek Ramaswamy has said this about Donald Trump, and then I'll tell you what Donald Trump said about him. He says, Donald Trump has been a great president, and, Donald Trump actually said that Vivek Ramaswamy's campaign is deceitful and he's a fraud, etc. I don't know why Trump should say this. What did Vivek do? And, he should come out that he did this, therefore I think he's a fraud. And I think he did this and therefore I think he's deceitful. Trump didn't say that. Sometimes Trump, not sometimes, many a times, Trump tends to shoot his mouth off. which is not okay for a leader of the free world, like the Americans like to call their president. Okay? And he said that he doesn't hold anything against Trump, and the former US president, as the US president, former, called his campaign deceitful. He says, I interpret it as bad campaign strategist, corporate consultant advice that he might have received, and I don't hold it against him. And Nikki Haley is still in the presidential race, right? She's right behind Trump. She is at number 3, but less than 2 points away from Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is, as I mentioned, at 21.2, and Nikki Haley is at 19.1. All right. Nikki Haley has said that I am interested in being the president of the United States. I am not interested in being the vice president. She must have been asked this question, and she said she's not interested in being the vice president. She wants to be the president of the United States. Now, these are big words. These are big words, no doubt, but can Nikki Haley back it up by numbers? Or with numbers, does she have sufficient numbers to back up her desire to be the president of the United States? If she does, forget about her having coming from an Indian family or being of Indian descent. She's going to be the first woman president of the United States of America. Hillary Clinton tried. She failed. She stood against Barack Obama, if I remember correctly. Now, Donald Trump claims, and this says Trump the big mouth. This is what my research team has written. This is Trump the big mouth, which I agree with my research team. Trump has a pretty big mouth. And Trump says that the only reason that the stock market is going up is because he's leading in the polls. Trump believes that, the stock market is going up because he's leading in the polls. And he says that the stock market will crash if I don't win 2024 elections. And within 12 months, he predicts an economic downturn. So Trump has said this in the past, and he said that if I don't win 2024, the United States will lose its leadership. He's actually said that the United States of America has actually lost its global leadership. And, Joe Biden, he calls him Sleepy Joe because Joe Biden tends to sleep off in the middle of important engagements. And he said that America is going to the dogs. And if I as in Donald Trump, does not come back to power in 2024, then he says the stock market will crash and America will see possibly the worst ever days. Now, this is Trump, the big mouth, telling everybody that, there's this emperor who said, after me the deluge. I think it was a French emperor who said, after me the deluge, in the sense that, once I'm gone, the world will end. So this is exactly what Donald Trump thinks, after me, the world will end. If not me, then nothing. That is what Donald Trump says. And the Democratic face for elections, against Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy and Asa Hutchinson, you have President Joe Biden, self-help author Marianne Williamson, and Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips. Now, about both Republicans and Democrats, here's the thing. India's relationship, and because, as an Indian, this is what my focus is. India's relationship is bipartisan, right? It does not matter to India who wins. It doesn't matter to us if the Republicans win or the Democrats win. It doesn't matter to us. Anybody can win. We have our bread buttered on both the sides. Simply because we speak to the world and to the United States of America also from a position of strength. We don't speak from a position of weakness. Right? If we want something from America, America also wants something from us. And Americans realize that and they respect that, and we respect the Americans also. No, this is not like a one-sided love affair where India can do whatever it wants or America can do whatever it wants. It's a mutually respectful relationship between India and the US. And India values this relationship. Prime Minister Modi and External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar have absolutely gone to town saying that how much they value this relationship, and the Americans have also followed suit. Now, Kamala Harris, Nikki Haley, Bobby Jindal, etc. So, all these are Indian origin names, people who have at one point in time or are still extremely active in politics, want to become the president. Indian origin people are doing well. There was a time when you won't see very many Indian origin people in politics. Most of the Indians, 99% of the Indians in the US would be found working for some Fortune 500 tech company. That is what Indians are known for, and even now I think that is largely true. All these computer scientists and computer engineers and data engineers and all, most of them are Indians, and this is what Indians excel at. It's about maths for us. So we're good at maths, and so that's where we go. But increasingly now, a lot of Indians are making headway into American politics to the level of saying that we will stand for the presidential elections. You know, they may win, lose, that's a separate matter. But the fact of the day is not very far. Maybe in my lifetime, I will see an Indian origin president of the United States. It's bound to happen. It's something whose time has come. And I think it can happen anytime. It can happen in the next 10, 15, 20, 25 years. We will have an Indian origin person in the White House. Now, there are various challenges for Trump. Actually, if Trump becomes the president, right, he needs to, and this is advice from a person who's living thousands of kilometers away, he needs to watch his mouth. Trump talks too much. And I wish him all the best, and I hope that if he wants to become the president, God bless him, and if he can get the votes, why not? If the Americans want him as the president, why not? He talks too much. He upsets his allies. He spoke nonsense about the Japanese, and the Japanese are the Americans' closest friends after the Second World War. He will speak nonsense about his European allies, people who are closest to him, people who will follow him into war. Trump will speak nonsense about the Israelis. He also spoke nonsense about the Indians. So I think Trump needs to watch out for that. And then he made fun of Vivek Ramaswamy's accent. That's okay. You can make fun of his accent. A lot of people make fun of Donald Trump's accent. But I think one thing Donald Trump can learn from Vivek Ramaswamy, I think he can learn a lot of class and sophistication from Vivek. Vivek is a guy who comes across as extremely literate, balanced, and mature. Trump comes across as a redneck with money. Well, Trump may have got the popular vote, but the Americans would have been better served with Vivek. And I'm not saying that because I'm an Indian and he's Indian origin. He was born in the US, and his loyalties will be with the United States of America, and that's fine. That's fine. All I'm trying to say is that, Trump's entire thing is that they are out to get me, they're out to get you, there is a conspiracy, and let's do this and let's do that. All right? You need a mature hand because the world is crashing into chaos right now. There's the Russia-Ukraine war, there is the Israel-Hamas war, there is something with Iran that is brewing very fast. And the United States is already involved in another conflict in the Middle East. It's already there. Fighter jets have taken off from their aircraft carriers and bomb Houthi locations. The American president has, for whatever it is worth, threatened Iran. So things will spiral out of control, and you need a guy who's steady. But above all, if America is the world's sole economic and military superpower, I think America needs a guy at the helm. It could be Trump, it could be, I don't know, Biden, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. But you need a person who can remind the world, that America is the superpower. The way these guys left Afghanistan, extremely shameful. I mean, that is not the end of their shame. They keep on doing shameful stuff like invading countries, etc. But that is not how a superpower leaves, in the dead of night, like thieves. So anyway, I wish Vivek Ramaswamy all the very best with whatever he has planned in life after this. And I hope Nikki Haley can make a match out of this. All the best to everybody who's fighting the elections. Now we'll go to the question and answers. We have two questions today. Shakti Kesavan. With Maldives finally joining the Chinese bloc, China has successfully completed its string of pearls strategy. Is there something we could do to counter this? No, I don't agree, Shakti ji, that China has successfully completed its string of pearls. No. No, there are no pearls and there is no string. What China is doing is bribing people. It never works. You have to be on a similar ideological plane. You have to have similar values. You see, otherwise there is no way you can do this. There is no way. I would also like to tell you that this whole thing about China, I think we have in our conversations made China 10 feet tall. Chinese are not 10 feet tall. When I say 10 feet tall, I mean you're trying to portray people as supermen. That is how the Chinese see themselves. No, they are not. If you cut them, they'll bleed. And we have proven it time and again in battle that if you cut the Chinese, they bleed, they cry, they feel fear, they run, they surrender, they do everything. It is just the proportion of giving it to the Chinese. So no, There is no string of pearls which has been successful. Yes, they are trying. In some places they have been successful. In some places they have been abject failures. They are trying. This is not to say that they're not trying, but I would also like to tell you that, the China-Pakistan economic corridor is shut down. The BRI looks a little iffy. And the Chinese real estate sector and the banking sector have crashed. And you need money to fund all this string of pearls and all that. China's economy is taking a beating. It's taking a beating, and it will take a couple of years to recover if it does. Let's see how it pans out. The second question is by Mahesh Kundrapu. He says, Major Sir, my name is Mahesh. Namaskara, Mahesh ji. Why Africa filed genocide case in ICJ? What's wrong with Africa-Israel relations? No, it's South Africa, not the African Union. It is South Africa that filed the genocide case in the International Court of Justice, and there is nothing wrong. There is China. The South Africans have taken significant amount of money from China, and China never wanted a Muslim country to do this. They wanted a non-Muslim country to do this because of optics. They got South Africa a willing partner, and South Africa has filed a case, of genocide and human rights violations against Israel and IDF, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because Israel will keep on bombing the living daylights out of Hamas till the time the Hamas is obliterated. So I don't think this is just for optics, and this is just for eyeballs, and this is just for drawing room conversation. I don't think this means anything at all. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, we come to the end of this video. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.